Hey everybody, it's Gabby and it is time to gab about some books. It has been a pretty long time since I have been on here. I don't really have a reason or an excuse this time, or am I going to try to come up with one for you? So without further ado, we're going to jump straight into it. I'm going to be reviewing 3 books that I have read because, you know, I have been reading a lot even though I have not been filming a lot for you guys. So here we go, we're going to jump straight into it. So the lighting on the other side was really weird, so I'm going to just film it this way. My bookcases are on the other side. Unfortunately, I need to figure out how to get the lighting to be fine. Maybe I need to get one of the ring things. Who knows? So the first book that I'm going to be reviewing that I have read is Year One by Nora Roberts, and this follows a few different people. It kind of bounces back and forth between a few of the characters. I thought this was going to be something entirely different. It's a post-apocalyptic world. And there's a reporter, there's a couple who are, I guess, witches, and one is pregnant, and then they all combine at some point, but basically there is this virus called the Doom, and it wipes out like more than half of the population, and there are certain people that are immune to the virus, and then the people that are immune to the virus are being taken by the government. At least you find that out later on in the book. There are witches, there are fairies. I think that was all that they really mentioned, but there's a lot going on in it, and you know, it wasn't horrible, but I've never read a Nora Roberts book before. I don't know if this was like the right one to start with. For it being a post-apocalyptic book, not really knowing what to expect, it wasn't terrible. I think I gave it a 3 out of 5 on Goodreads. It could have been better. There were a lot of interactions with the characters that weren't completely ideal. There were certain circumstances that, you know, seemed very unrealistic. You know, I can't give too much away. There's nothing that stood out to me a lot as far as a positive thing. The characters were slightly annoying. The writing style I didn't get into very much. Again, if this was a Nora Roberts book that I shouldn't have picked up first, I don't know. This was my first one ever by her. So I probably wouldn't pick up any more Nora Roberts books just because of the writing style of this one. So there was this one. Another one that I read was The Child by Fiona Barton. This one was a lot better than Year One. Obviously, it's a different style. This one is a mystery. I kind of want to say it's a murder mystery, but it's really not. So basically, the case opens up, or the story opens up with a child or a baby being found that's been buried in a garden, and then it opens up all of these unsolved cases, I suppose you could say. So it just follows along with this case. You know, you start trying to piece together who the baby could potentially be, and then you find out that it's really not that baby, but then it could be that baby. Like, you're going back and forth, and every time you go to a different person's perspective, because there's like 5 of them, which did take a while to remember who was actually like thinking, I guess, or like it was their perspective. There was a lot going on. I think I gave this one a 3 out of 5 as well. There was just the bouncing back and forth between the different perspectives seems to be the new trend with books, and I'm all for that. But when it's so frequent and you can't really tell the difference between the characters, because I feel like there was no style, like writing style different, which I guess, I mean, it's the same author, so why would she write it any differently? But I just felt like it was very confusing at times to remember who I was actually reading from their point of view. But it did have a little bit of a plot twist. The plot twist redeemed the book. I was getting bored about halfway through, and then I was like, I gotta power through this, I gotta do this. So there was this one. These reviews obviously are not that long and drawn out. I'm so sorry for that, but I do want to try to get at least one more video in here before I go to my Cinco de Mayo party. I'm probably gonna edit that out because that was really late. The last one that I read was The Woman in the Window by A.J. Finn, and this book was amazing. I give this a 5 out of 5. It follows a woman who has agoraphobia, where she's afraid to go outside. There's multiple reasons why, and you find them all out throughout the entire story. But basically, I think her name is Nora. No, I wasn't even close. Her name is Anna. I read this at the beginning of the year. So Anna, she looks out her window and she kind of spies on her neighbors. I guess that's like her way of staying involved within the community. And she witnesses something that completely what's the word I'm looking for? It completely just alters everything. She's not sure if she really saw it, because then she's starting to be questioned by people about it, and then you start questioning if she's actually seeing the truth. She's also an alcoholic, so that also adds into it. In a way, somebody had asked me if it kind of resembles the girl on the train, and I guess it kind of does, because again, it does hit into the idea of not really knowing what you truly saw. But eventually you find out and your mind is blown about the actual events of what Anna saw through the window and why it all happened and why it transpired. And so it was pretty crazy. So if you haven't read this one yet, it did come out in 2018, I believe, this year. So if you haven't read it yet, definitely check it out. It's a very good one. I am actually looking forward to more of her books. Or his. I don't know if AJ Finn is a girl or a boy. Yeah, don't know. Well, I'll have to look into that. So there is this one. I am currently reading 2 books right now. I am reading Lover at Last by J.R. Ward. It's the 10th or the 11th book in the Black Dagger Brotherhood series. I love that series. So if you have not started reading that and you are a fan of vampires, you should definitely check that one out. It definitely has a different spin to it. The vampires are not hunting for blood. They're not sucking blood. Well, unless it's like another vampire. It's just awesome. Then the other one that I am reading, Baby Doll by Holly Overton, and I definitely thought that was going to be a lot different than it is. It is really boring. I don't know if anybody else has had the same experience with it, but I can't get into it, and I've tried so hard, but I can't. I would love to, because I heard such great things about it, but then I also started reading more into it, and there were also not such great reviews on the story as well. So hopefully I can finish those within the next week or so. I've been kind of slacking on reading this year. I originally had 100 as my reading goal on Goodreads, but I had to bring it down to 75 because seeing that I was 30 books behind just made my heart race. Now I'm only 18 books behind. I think I was 25 books maybe behind, but now I'm 18 books behind, which is a little bit easier to catch up to, especially once the summer hits. Once the summer hits, I'm on summer break, so then I can read as frequently as I want to, and I think I'm going to definitely do a 24-hour or a 48-hour reading marathon, one or the other, since I'm usually awake during the night hours over the summer. So anyways, that was my quick little wrap up / review of books. I'm gonna try to catch up on some things. I know I was tagged in a video and I'm gonna definitely try to get to that, but I do have a lot of other things I need to try to film as well, like a TBR and all this other stuff, and I'm talking too much now. So, alright, bye. See ya.